with tradition and not have its infamous senses-shattering Saturday evening Hall H panel. Wah, 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 wah. Not good. With Avengers Doomsday pushing out to December 2026, Marvel now has another SDCC before the film's theatrical release. The cast of the Avengers Doomsday is currently in production, and it didn't feel like the right timing for a Hall H panel. At least that was the thinking inside the company. Marvel will still have a major presence at this year's SDCC, with numerous panels about comics, games, and more. And sources tell Heat Vision that it will have a massive footprint at the San Diego Convention Center with a fully redesigned and immersive booth that leans into the release of the Fantastic Four. There could be some surprises in store as well. It's not the first time Marvel has skipped Hall H due to timing. Marvel operates on the big go big or stay home ethos. In 2011, the company was focused on shooting Avengers. In 2015, it didn't have footage to share. And in 2018, it had several films wrapping production, but nothing new to announce. Those were different from the times Marvel missed due to the pandemic, 2020 and 2021, and the dual Hollywood strikes, 2023. So they've been missing a lot, lately. Last year's Hall H presence was one for the ages. It was incredible, man. Deadpool and Wolverine screening, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman at the start of the convention, and had the theatrical reveal of Downey as Doctor Doom. Marvel is still showing up at fan conventions, and tomorrow we'll have a Fantastic Four at CCXP Mexico, which, by the way, they showed footage yesterday at Mexico, which apparently blew people away, like the Silver Surfer trying to get Franklin and chase the Fantastic Four and whatnot. Okay, so that's the official report there. That was actually the first thing that came out, that they were not going to be at Hall H, but ironically there were rumblings out there. In fact, if you will recall, last Friday I actually brought it up to you guys, and I remember because I watched the clips back, right? I edit these segments out for the Clips channel, and I think I was Saturday morning, I was like watching back the stream as I was editing the clips, and I was like, damn, I pretty much called this. Now, I didn't know for sure. Of course, I heard some things. I was kind of hoping against hope that it wasn't real. But alas, it is real. So they pulled the plug on Hall H. Now, I think the obvious answer here is they've delayed Doomsday to the point that Marvel Studios itself is kind of going into like a big break or like a hibernation of sorts. And we're going to talk more about the break because, Fantastic Four, I think it's still kind of up in the air for how that film will perform. But a lot of the analysts and a lot of the people that I've talked to, I mean, frankly, Fantastic Four doesn't even really need to perform that well, but Doomsday must. If Doomsday does not perform well, like it's like disastrous. Like it's like we're totally cooked if that happens. And so I think you can kind of see the studio putting all their eggs in that basket. I think this delay and focus is just completely on that film. And I think they don't even want to think about promoting this thing. They want to make it, and I think they want to figure out what it is a little bit more. The film is so ambitious, and we know they don't have a finished script. Not necessarily the biggest concern, as Marvel is very good at figuring that out. But still, like, I think there's this phrase of, like, finding the film in the edit, and that happens, like, with almost every movie. And so Marvel's not even, like, there. They're not even, like, they don't have enough to put together like even an assembly cut of this film. They've only been filming for a month or two, and it's a massive movie. So no SDCC for Marvel this summer. And yes, that is kind of heartbreaking. Okay, it makes sense, but it is kind of heartbreaking. Now, I would assume we'd still get some cool stuff. I think you're still going to get, some comic book announcements, maybe some new game announcements. Maybe even a little something like a sizzler reel or something for Doomsday. Because remember, they do technically have a sizzler reel for Doomsday. I have no idea what that sizzler reel entails. It could be just a couple of seconds. It could be a minute. But it was seen at a official Disney product promotion. We talked about this a couple of weeks back. So they do have something with Doomsday, meaning before the delay, which probably was, solidified within the past few weeks, there was marketing for Doomsday. They probably took the first couple of weeks of shooting, and marketing has whipped something together. There was basically like people within Marvel that were operating under the impression that they were going to release this thing in about a year, so there was promo done. maybe some of that will happen. But I tell you what won't happen. What won't happen is all the cast and crew coming out on the stage at Hall H. We won't see Kevin Feige because, like, Kevin Feige, I mean, one of the things Feige I don't think gets enough credit for is he is a master at these presentations. You can really see it on full display when you see how James Gunn has navigated this space. I think Gunn is intelligent to bring Cena on and do this sort of him and John Cena thing, because I think Cena is so charismatic and awesome that, like, it kind of helps even that out. But Kevin Feige doesn't need anything. He doesn't even need a teleprompter. Like, Feige will get out there and riff because he truly understands Marvel and how he wants to talk to the fans. So I love watching this dude get on stage and bring other people out and introduce trailers, et cetera, et cetera. And these presentations, you know, they've been magical. You know, they'll have a sort of build up, and then you get the big fucking drop, and you're like, oh my God. And like Downey was probably the craziest one. But, you know, even when you saw Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars on the presentation screen, that remember when they were both going to come out this year, right? Even that's like a super big moment. And then, of course, a lot of big moments from the past. So we won't get that, basically. So that is a big bummer. No big Hall H presentation. Now, my first thought when I heard about this was, oh, thank God, at least Superman's going to be there. Because even on Friday, you know, we had said, okay, Marvel might not be there, but at least Superman will be there. And we'll have a big Comic-Con because I think Superman has the chance to do really well. And I even speculated on Friday, like, wouldn't it be great if Superman was crushing it in theaters, because it will have 2 weekends of box office at that point. And so, man, it would just be so cool if, like, the movie was crushing, well on its way to $1 billion, and then they announced, like, World's Finest, which is a big rumor that that's the next one that Gunn is working on. And I was like, oh, man, that would be really, really cool. Well, come to find out that apparently there's no Hall H presentation for Superman, or rather not for DC overall. There is a presentation with John Cena and James, which we just saw a version of kick off last night at CCXP Mexico. Is it Mexico? So that's that's probably what it was. Now, there were rumors that they did talk a little bit about the future of the DCU, but maybe just offhandedly. I don't think you're going to get this big slate presentation, which technically Gunn has never done. The closest we got was, like, he showed a bunch of journalists in that one room on the Warner Brothers lot, and it leaked out with all the logos, but that was never shown publicly, by the way. They just talked about it, and he shot that little video. So to this day, we've never had a big, you know, Comic-Con thing, or I think Feige did it one time at the El Capitan, where he, like, laid out Phase 3 and 4 all the way to Infinity War. We've never had anything like that with DC so far. And I thought it would be great to get that. But from what I'm hearing, that's not even a thing. That's not going to happen at Comic-Con this summer. So, man, the summer that we have two of the most important comic book movies maybe ever, at a time when the comic book movie genre is in murky water. It's like, what's happening? Is the fatigue settling in? Is the whole thing cooked? What's going on? With all of these different questions, I do think it's a little bit of a bummer that both DC and Marvel are not doing a big Hall H presentation. So that's a little tough. Now, again, both studios could have announcements. There could be news that comes out, but I'm not going to do a stream Saturday night anymore. Like, that's the point. It's like, I don't, unless something changes and unless some reports come out that, like, oh, Gunn shuffled and they're really going to drop some cool stuff Saturday night. I see no reason to go live Saturday night and wait for the big announcements. You know, I think Marvel will probably pick some stuff up late in the year, maybe around August, for like D23, and you'll definitely get some stuff there. But again, it's like, I don't know that even is worth staying there and doing a dedicated stream to. Another thing I'll say about this, and it kind of breaks my heart to say this, but I just got to tell you it because I think it's a real possibility here. We've heard that these studios want to not do Comic-Con anymore. And I'm not talking about Kevin, because I think Kevin Feige loves Comic-Con. I think he understands what it means for fans. James probably does too. But we've heard that the companies themselves, Disney and Warner Brothers, they are not interested in being this massive draw to another exhibitor, something that they don't have full control of. And I think there's been a big push from the sort of corporate side of both companies to get away from Comic-Con. As far as I understand it, Comic-Con itself might be changing its own venue. The International Comic-Con of San Diego Comic-Con might actually move to Vegas. I've heard that rumor quite a bit. So, man, is this, because this will kind of be a blow to Comic-Con, man. You know, we had people that in our community that got tickets and they're straight up bummed. Like, they have tickets. And some people, this is the first time they're going. And now no Hall H. It's like, oof, that's tough, right? Is this potentially another nail in the coffin of Comic-Con as this event? Oh, man, that would be so sad. I wouldn't want that just because I like the staple. Like, I like the prestige of it. Like, I like that as a sort of cornerstone of our nerdy year. And I really do wonder if this might be the beginning of the end for that. So we'll keep an eye on that, man. I don't even, it's a rumor. It's just my speculation, but I wouldn't feel right if I didn't bring it up because it was something I think is on the table. And with all the other things that are happening, I think it could be a real possibility. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it all works out and hopefully they can just be back next year. And I would expect that if they are back next year, that should be an incredible San Diego for us. And very, very hyped up as we might get the first official trailer for Doomsday and a lot of promotion for Doomsday. So, yeah, I think that's going to be good. One final note on this. With Warner Brothers, or rather with DC and Marvel not doing these big, massive Hall H presentations, my dream would be that Henry Cavill did some kind of Hall H presentation for Warhammer. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. It feels like that's a little too early. Now, I've heard that they have a direction for the show. I've heard they're writing the show right now. I've heard the writing is tough. It's going slowly. But that they have logos, they know what the show is, and they're technically ready to make a soft announcement for it. And I don't know what they're planning. I did hear it could happen in summer, and I just got to tell you, man, what a great way to start to get the zeitgeist to realize what's about to happen. Because, like, look, I truly think Warhammer is, like, the next big thing. I think it's going to come in and smash a lot of the stuff that's currently right now in the zeitgeist, you know, mostly the comic book stuff. And I just think it would be an incredible first step in that whole journey if Cavill was able to take advantage of the vacuum that's being created by these two big companies backing off. Because, like, look, make no mistake about it, if the genre was in a better place, I don't think a lot of this stuff would be happening. You know, I know some of you guys don't like to hear it, but unfortunately, I still strongly feel that the performance of the Marvel movies and Daredevil so far this year was a big factor in delaying Doomsday. Because in a sense, Doomsday is now buffered from all of these movies. It'll be a year and a half past Fantastic Four when that movie comes out. So they're really trying to buffer that film from the performance that Marvel is currently having, okay? And that's kind of a shame, but that speaks to the fact that, like, the fatigue is real, the damage has been done, you know, and we're going to talk more about these test screenings and the drama and everything, and you could tell the whole fandom is like a pit full of vipers, you know, and everybody's getting mad at each other and wants to bite. Not great. Warhammer has a chance within that environment to kind of step in and offer something new, to offer stability, to offer this new thing. So I don't know that that's going to happen, but man, I got to tell you, if I were Cavill, I would be looking at this and I would be seeing a massive opportunity. So we'll see. We'll see. No reporting on that end, but man, would I love, oh man, would I love to get some Warhammer at San Diego. And if I hear that we will, then we will do a stream. Okay. Thanks for watching, and if you like this clip, smash a like on the actual video and subscribe to this channel. That way more of these clips get into your feed. I've also linked the full episode below if you want to check out the entire thing, including the Q&A we do with fans. You can also watch this show live. We do it live Monday through Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can also find all of my content, including the videos I put on my main YouTube channel, on the podcast feed.